alley-oop. They go alley-oop. One alley-oop. Oh, it went in! At the buzzer!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Countdown to Tip-Off, presented by Pikeville Medical Center. It's EKB TV's high school basketball spotlight show. And of course, we'll have player and coach interviews. Game highlights. We'll spotlight the Player of the Week nominations. Great individual performances throughout the area and the region. And on this edition of Countdown to Tip-Off, we will preview the upcoming district tournaments, which get started on Monday. Of course, weather has wreaked havoc on the final week of the high school basketball regular season, but we will take a look at some games upcoming and, of course, a look back at last week's action. Betsy Lane and Phelps, both teams stepping out of the district, and the Bobcats get a huge 83-59 win over the Hornets. Huge games from Peyton Case, 26 points. Charlie Daniels with a huge double-double, 25 points, 18 rebounds, and Dustin Rogers added 25 for the Bobcats in the win. In other action, Eastridge and Prestonsburg step out of district play. The Warriors, they've wrapped up the #1 seed in the upcoming 59th district tournament, and Johnny Miller's squad knocked off Prestonsburg 60-46. Oh, Austin Hilton, don't forget him. This team belongs to him as well. Letcher Central all over South Floyd, 75-59. And in one of our games of the week from last week, a great battle featuring Lawrence County at Pikeville. Wyatt Battle, a huge game. Zach Huffman, a big double-double. Pikeville and Lawrence County, a great one that went to the finish. Let's go to the highlights.
59th District Pikeville hosting 60th District Lawrence County. It's EKB TV's Game of the Week. Tip goes to the Panthers and Battle drains one on the first possession. Pikeville with the early lead. Clock winding down in the first quarter inside of 8 seconds. It's February, right? There's snow everywhere, but Pikeville says, well, it's always May for us. Blaine May takes it to the rack as time expires. Panthers on top by 4. Pikeville scored first in the second quarter, but a deep tray from Brandon Richardson. He strokes it. Then Austin Chafin goes coast to coast to tie it up. 3:12 left in the first half. Lawrence County would jump on top by 5 with Chafin in transition again, but then Pikeville puts it in the hands of Drew Walters in the corner. Back to a one-possession game. But as time expires, 2 missed shots in the last 3 seconds, but finally a tip-in at the buzzer sends Lawrence County to the locker room with a 38-34 halftime lead. Pikeville would own the third quarter with the help of a rebound and a look down the floor from Caleb Skeens to Battle. Great job finishing the play. He turns it into 3 points. Oh, and by the way, he's a freshman. Finished the game with 26 points. Late in the game, Pikeville extends the lead with good ball movement and that 3-run homer from Wyatt Battle. Panther lead out to 8, but Lawrence County storms back a 3 in the corner from junior Grant Kaiser, and don't blink, here it is again. Same spot, same guy. Pikeville on top by 6 late, but when it matters, Austin Chafin drains it. 3 seconds left. But if basketball had a victory formation, this is what it would look like. Zach Huffman at the line, drops in a free throw to seal it. Pikeville wins 79-75. That was EKB TV's Game of the Week. You're watching Countdown to Tip-Off. Back to Andrew.
That's Pikeville with a 79-75 win over Lawrence County. 2 teams that you could hear from in the upcoming district and regional tournaments. That's Countdown to Tip-Off as we take a look at some of the games from late last week. More game highlights still to come. Also on the way, our Hutch Chevrolet Player of the Week nominations and this week's Hutch Chevrolet Player of the Week. We'll spotlight the University of Pikeville and check in on the Bears, both the men and women, now in the national rankings from the NAI. It's Countdown to Tip-Off. It's presented by Pikeville Medical Center, and we will return with more high school basketball after this. Welcome back to Countdown to Tip-Off, presented by Pikeville Medical Center. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, as EKB TV brings you a high school basketball spotlight show. We spotlight game highlights. We spotlight individual performances throughout the area, and we check in on the University of Pikeville as well. Let's get back to action from Saturday around the area. Shelby Valley improving to 16-12 on the year with a 62-32 win over the Jenkins Cavaliers. Hunter Swindle led the way with 20 points. Sheldon Clark knocked off McGoffin County 61-53 in weekend action. And the Belfry Pirates, a team of multiple personalities. They have lacked consistency, but they've played well down the stretch. Belfry improves to 6-19 with a 58-54 win over Robertson County. Garrett Fannin led the Pirates with 17. And Pikeville and Pike Central hooking up for a crosstown rivalry. These two schools separated only by Buckley's Creek and about 4 miles. Pikeville improved to 17-12 with a 66-60 win over the Hawks. And we have highlights of this great matchup.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Justice, and this is Pike Central Basketball on EKB TV. Go PC! Go PC!
1 week left in the regular season. 59th District Pikeville visits 60th District Pike Central. This is 15th Region Basketball. You're watching Countdown to Tipoff on EKB TV. Blaine May goes inside to Zach Huffman. Pikeville up and rolling. Braxton Tibbs does his thing for Pike Central, lowers his shoulder, and the fadeaway floater drops. He led the team with 17. Huffman again, this time defensively, reaches around to swat the ball away, and freshman Evan Rhodes will take it all the way home. Teddy Smith finds a seam in the Panther defense and executes the cut to perfection, but then it's Huffman again with an offensive board. A putback, and his solid night would continue. 3 seconds left in the first half. A nice setup off the inbound play, but a missed shot. No worries, though. The big guy's there to finish. With that, Pikeville leads at the half 28-25. In the second half, it's Smith again for the Hawks. He finished with 14 on the day. Pike Central made a run and kept it close. Tibbs all the way down the floor. For his size, dude can really move. He would turn this into a three-point play. Huffman's a center, but he can handle the rock too. Drives right side. Pikeville would seal the deal late with free throws. It's Wyatt Battle finishing the battle. Panthers win 66-60. Zach Huffman spoke with us about the game and his team as they get set for the postseason.
We shot it much better than we did the past few games, and we just played better defense. I think we'll be just fine. I just hope we get out of district after going up there and playing at Shelby Valley and get Shelby Valley.
Two of the hottest teams in the region right now. Pikeville's won 5 of its last 6. Pike Central's won 8 of its last 11. You're watching Countdown to Tip-Off. Send it back to Andrew.
That's Pikeville 66-60 over Pike Central. Wyatt Battle led the Panthers with 22. Braxton Tibbs 17 to lead the Hawks. That's a look at high school basketball from last weekend. That's before weather wreaked havoc on the schedule and wiped out all the games throughout the first part of this week, being the final week of the regular season. Coming up next week, district tournament action gets started, and next week we'll have complete coverage, and still to come on Countdown to Tip-Off, a complete look at the district tournaments upcoming next week. Now let's step away from high school basketball, talk some U-Pike basketball. The Bears now number 3 in the nation in the NAI men's basketball top 25 rankings. The U-Pike women also nationally ranked for the first time since 2005. The Bears women now number 23 in the country. They'll go to Shawnee State Saturday. But first, let's take a look back at the U-Pike men facing St. Catherine on Saturday.
U-Pike welcomes in St. Catherine. It's a Mid-South Conference matchup on Senior Day. U-Pike won at St. Cat earlier this season, 110-87. Khalil Murphy grabs a board underneath and goes up for 2 to keep the Patriots in this one, but on the other end, senior Kenny Manigault scores 2 of his 16 on Senior Day. A nice outing in what was his last show at the Expo. Christian Leach showed out on Saturday, 6 of 6 from the field, 2 here, and a free throw to complete the three-point play. He finished with 18. His senior day won't be till next year. Murphy with another bucket inside, but senior Trey Ricks zips it inside to Leach. Nice look across the lane to senior Mike Ine, making it look easy. 2 points inside for the 6'11 Nigerian. Murphy drains one from outside. St. Catherine running the Murphy offense. He finished with 16. Ine again, more of the same. He dropped in 7 points in his last game on the home floor. Then Lorenzo Dewberry, dude buried it from range. But the play of the game. Hey, you make a top play, we'll find you. All right, okay, yeah, I stole that line from someone else, and I was at the game, so I didn't really have to look too far, but U-Pike's 4 seniors playing 90s street ball out there. Watch it again. Manigault back to senior Bruce Haynes. What is this? On purpose or nah? I don't know, you decide. But kicks it off the back of his heel and tipped up inside. Almost goes in. Then senior Michael Ine taps it over to senior Hobo McCoy. So Bruce Haynes and Hobo McCoy sort of connect for 2. You may not know it, but Haynes was actually part of one of the most famous high school basketball games in recent history a few years ago down in South Carolina, and Hobo was the centerpiece of the Miracle on the Mountain game a few years ago at Pike Central. So you knew something magical had to happen between the 2 of these guys on senior day. Bruce still laughing about it on the defensive end of the floor. You can never convince me that that was on purpose. Bears win 95-71 on senior day. U-Pike improves to 24-2 on the season, 11-2 in Mid-South Conference play.
Well, it's senior night, and as a coach, you want it to be a great experience for your seniors. We want to take care of the scoreboard. We want to make sure everybody scores. And tonight they did exactly what we wanted to. Started the game off 7-0 with all our seniors on the court. Just a great night, built a lot of momentum for us. And we talk about being 11 strong and 11 deep, and we were tonight. Everybody contributed. Well, 3 out of our 4 seniors have never lost a game at home. Some have been 2, some have been 2.5 years. It's just an unbelievable fingerprint that they've laid on our program. It's some of that starts sinking in a little bit, gets a little emotional, and I sure don't want to see these seniors go anywhere.
I'm Caleb Noe for EKB TV. Back to you, Andrew.
The U-Pike Bears basketball team, currently 3rd in the country, tops in the Mid-South Conference, and the U-Pike women ranked number 23 in the country. Both the U-Pike men and women at Shawnee State University coming up Saturday. The women tip off at 2, the men at 4, and it should be a test for both. Coming up next week, high school basketball district tournament action still to come. We'll have a complete preview of what's coming up as far as the district tournaments go throughout the 15th region. Also on the way, our Hutch Chevrolet Player of the Week nominations, and we'll name our Hutch Chevrolet Player of the Week. Still to come when Countdown to Tip-Off returns right after this. Welcome back to Countdown to Tip-Off, EKB TV's high school basketball spotlight show. Of course, we take a look at game highlights. We hear from coaches. We hear from players throughout the area. And coming up, we'll talk about the upcoming district tournaments. Also, each week we spotlight individual player performances, the Hutch Chevrolet Player of the Week nominees, and we'll name our Hutch Chevrolet Player of the Week. Let's get things started. You've already heard a little about it. You call him Charles, some say Charlie. He's known as Laco Daniels. 24 points in a win over Paintsville. And how about the Bobcats win over Phelps when Laco went off for 25 points and 18 rebounds, a double-double. Dustin Rogers of Betsy Lane also with 25 points, 6 of 12 from three-point range in that win over Phelps. And Peyton Case had 26 to lead the Bobcats. In other action player nominations throughout the area, Zach Huffman in Pikeville's win over Lawrence County, a double-double, 19 points, 11 rebounds. In other action, of course, Wyatt Battle, the youngster of Pikeville, helping lead the Panthers to the 79-75 win over Lawrence County. Battle had 26 in the win. In other action, Dylan James of Sheldon Clark, 28 points in the Cardinals' win over Shelby Valley. And Michael Williams, a name that you've heard earlier this season. He's from the Pierrest School. Williams with a double-double, 31 points, 11 boards in a win at Riverside Christian. And finally, our Hutch Chevrolet Player of the Week for this final week of the regular season. He comes from Johnson Central and one of very few triple doubles, only the 3rd in Johnson Central basketball history. It doesn't happen often in the 15th region or in the Commonwealth. Kyle Gullett, 17 points, 11 rebounds, 11 blocks in a win over Ashland. Kyle Gullett of Johnson Central, your Hutch Chevrolet Player of the Week with a triple double. It's Countdown to Tip-Off presented by Pikeville Medical Center, EKB TV's high school basketball spotlight show. We've looked back at games past. We've heard from players and coaches. We've checked in on the University of Pikeville, and we've talked about individual player performances. Now, as we're in the final week of the regular season, the district tournaments get started on Monday. Now, let's take a look at the district tournament brackets. Countdown to Tip-Off style.
Welcome into this special segment of Countdown to Tip-Off, where we reveal the 2015 district tournament pairings for the 4 districts that make up the 15th region. First up in the 57th district, there was actually a coin flip for the number 1 seed. Johnson Central won that coin flip, and they have the privilege of hosting the district tournament. The Golden Eagles, 19-8 on the season, one of the hottest teams in the 15th region. They've won 15 of their last 16 games. Plenty of leadership on that team, plenty of talent. Johnson Central, a team to watch out for. And who will Johnson Central play? It'll be the 4 seed, Magoffin County. The Hornets, a very young team. They do have a sophomore who averages 21 points and 9 rebounds a game, so almost a double-double every outing. Next up in the number 2 spot, the team that lost the coin flip for the number 1 spot, it's Sheldon Clark. Sheldon Clark, one of the teams that was favored throughout the season as one of the top teams in the 15th region. They lost Chase Parsley a couple weeks ago to an ankle injury. They may have him back by the time the district tournament rolls around next week. It's Paintsville as the number 3 seed. Paintsville and Sheldon Clark split the regular season series, so that'll be a fun one to watch. The Johnson Central Magoffin game will be at 6:30 on Tuesday night, and immediately following that will be the Sheldon Clark Paintsville game. The listed time for that is 8:30. Moving on to the 58th district. In the top spot, it'll be Betsy Lane. The Bobcats 7-0 in 58th district play this season, 8 seniors on that roster. They'll be a team to watch out for, a very good shooting team, plenty of talent. Team to watch out for not only in the 58th district, but in the 15th region. In the 4 spot for the 58th district, it'll be Allen Central, 12-16 on the season, trying to knock off the top team, Betsy Lane. In the 2 spot, it'll be Prestonsburg. Prestonsburg, a very interesting team. They've been up and down this season, led by Dalton Frazier, one of the most intense players in the 58th district. A fun one to watch. And Prestonsburg will take on South Floyd in that 2-3 matchup. South Floyd gets the honor of hosting the 58th district tournament, so that could play in their advantage. When those 2 teams met at South Floyd, the Raiders did win, but they split the season series. The Betsy Lane Allen Central game will take place Monday night at 7:30. The Prestonsburg South Floyd game will start Tuesday night at 7:30. Moving on to the 59th district, it'll be Eastridge in the top spot thanks to that big win over Pikeville last week in what was actually EKB TV's game of the week. You saw highlights last week on Countdown to Tip-Off of that one. Lots of eyes on this Warriors team. They've got plenty of playmakers, Miller, Hilton, Cheney, Little, very good team. They'll play Pierrest. Pierrest School is 5-14 this season, winless in 59th district play, but anything can happen come tournament time. Pierrest will be looking for the big upset over Eastridge. In the 2 spot, it'll be Shelby Valley. Shelby Valley, a team that really depends on the 3-point shot. It can be really good or it can be really bad, but I'll tell you, when Shelby Valley shoots it well, they are really, really good. With the 3 seed in the 59th district, it'll be Pikeville. Pikeville with one of the top centers in the 15th region, Zach Huffman. Makes for an interesting matchup. Shelby Valley likes to shoot it outside. Pikeville likes to work it inside. The 2 teams did split the regular season series home and home. Something to keep in mind, Shelby Valley does host the 59th district tournament. And finally, in the 60th district, Pike Central will have the top seed. Coach Keith May really has this Hawks team playing right now. They have probably the biggest kid in the entire 15th region, if not east of Lexington, in Blackburn. Pike Central, a team to watch out for, and they've been hot recently as well. Looking for the upset in the first round will be Phelps, and they get to do it at home. Phelps, the host of the 60th district tournament this season, winless in district play throughout the regular season, but hey, what do you got to lose? District tournament time, anything can happen. In the 2 spot for the 60th district, it'll be Lawrence County. Now think back to last season. Lawrence County made it to the regional tournament and were a really competitive team, and that was with 0 seniors and only 2 juniors on the roster, so they brought everybody back. The Bulldogs will take on the third-seeded Belfry Pirates in the first round. Belfry, a small team but a fast team. They like to speed up the tempo of a basketball game, get in transition, they'll press 3/4 out of the game. That'll be a fun one to watch, and just like every other 2-3 matchup across the board in the 15th region, Belfry and Lawrence County split the regular season series. So let's run it back for you. In the 57th district over at Johnson Central High School, Johnson Central will take on Magoffin County in the 1-4 matchup. Sheldon Clark and Paintsville will decide things in the 2-3 matchup. In the 58th district at South Floyd High School over in High Hat, Betsy Lane and Allen Central will play the 1-4 matchup. Prestonsburg and South Floyd squaring off in the 2-3 matchup. In the 59th district, taking place over at Shelby Valley, East Ridge and Pierrest squaring off in the 1-4 matchup, and Shelby Valley taking on Pikeville in the 2-3 game. And finally in the 60th district, Pike Central and Phelps in the 1-4 matchup, and Lawrence County versus Belfry in the 2-3 matchup. An exciting slate of games across the 15th region next week in the 4 district tournaments. Thanks for tuning in to this special segment of Countdown to Tip-Off, a production of East Kentucky Broadcasting Television. I'm Caleb Noe. Let's send it back over to Andrew.
That's a look at the upcoming boys high school basketball district tournaments. Countdown to tip-off style. You'll have complete coverage of the 58th district tournament from South Floyd on ESPN Radio 95.9 and 104.5 FM. Complete coverage of the 59th district tournament from Shelby Valley on WDHR and Classic Rock 103. And of course, coverage of the Pikeville Panthers, as you'll hear all season long on the Oldies Radio Network. 60th District Basketball Tournament, complete coverage on 93.1 WDHR and Z1075. You're covered with complete coverage from the district tournaments through the 15th region tournaments and coverage of the boys and girls state tournaments only on the stations of East Kentucky Broadcasting, with coverage from the opening tip of the district tournaments until the champions are crowned in Bowling Green and at Rupp Arena in Lexington, only on EKB. Thanks to all the crew at EKB Sports for their contributions to this show. Countdown to Tip-Off, a high school basketball spotlight show, and we'll be back to wrap up the regular season and tournament play. Stay tuned to EKB TV for future coverage of Countdown to Tip-Off, presented by Pikeville Medical Center.
They go alley-oop, one on the